Everybody has a theory about what's going on with this insane news week. I know. We've been talking about Ye a lot because the dude dominated news coverage. Now everyone's coming out of the woodwork to talk about what happened. And there's an update in a similar vein. InfoWars host Alex Jones files for personal bankruptcy. Now, we knew this was coming or something like it was coming because the court is trying to go after him for $2.75 trillion. I'm not kidding. Like a magical, insane number that exceeds the GDP of France. In fact, the number is so absurd, it makes a mockery of the court, as some have even suggested. But this is the attempt to shut down free speech. It's the attempt to control the narrative. And something really interesting is happening with what happened with Ye. Going on Alex Jones's show, people are strangely defending Alex Jones. It's weird what Ye has done. It's like shifting the Overton window. Now, Elon Musk has put out a tweet saying that when you piss off all of the extremists, you're doing something right. And it's like, maybe in a vague sense of where we want society to be, but not in any sense of morals, ethics, or principles. Like banning Ye because he posted some offensive image that apparently it's a symbol of some religion about aliens having created Earth or something like that, I guess. Banning him over that image because many people said it looked like it literally is a swastika and a Star of David. That's not a violation of the rules. So it's exposing Elon as a bit of a hypocrite, but revealing that all of this and all it is doing is pulling the Overton window away from the far left. With Elon Musk unbanning all of these people, they're now in the conversation again. Ye then goes out and there's a hard reset when he goes on Alex Jones's show and says such insane things that even Jimmy Kimmel is somehow defending Alex Jones in a rather humorous way. Right now, it is the most crucial time to defend free speech. In New York, they're trying to pass a law, I believe they did, and it's going into effect soon, that actually bans hate speech. It makes it basically illegal, forcing companies to remove hateful or humiliating speech. Rumble has announced they will be suing and pushing back. The corporate press over the New York Times and several outlets are claiming hate speech is running amok on Twitter, and it's just not true. And from this, many people believe that there is a deeper conflict afoot. An information cyber war, a war of wits and battle. I should say war, because it's not a battle between just a handful of individuals. This is full-scale information war, I suppose, an influence conflict. Many people are suggesting, I'm not going to act like it's the biggest thing in the world or anything like that, but people are saying, we've got James Lindsay, that basically what Ye is doing is fracturing the anti-woke base. Ye goes in, says a bunch of crazy things, and makes, anti-woke people at odds with each other over free speech. Some people were texting me saying, don't have these people on your show. Ye claimed, I suppose this is what I was told. Is it what I was told? He claimed, he called me an NPC on Alex Jones's show. I was told by Ian that he said that someone called me 10 minutes before the show and told me what to say, which is just absolutely not true. The full hour before the show, we were talking. But it does feel weird, and there's a lot of people who think that this could be a psy-op. Like, how does something like this happen? Well, maybe it's not a psy-op. Maybe everything we're seeing is a component of the breakdown. Maybe the reason you think life was stable before was because of the psy-ops. And when people are just decentralized and can do and say what they want, as we're starting to get more and more of, maybe it's the opposite of a psy-op. Maybe the natural state of humans is to say crazy things. So let's take a look at what's going on with Alex Jones and his bankruptcy. The filing here is actually quite revealing, saying that he owes upwards of between $1 and $10 billion as he's filing for this. I think what's happening to Alex Jones is an attack on everything he's built. I'm going to tell you something, and I don't want you to take it the wrong way. I want you to understand I'm not telling you this as a drag on Alex or as a brag of my own or anything like that. But when Alex was hosting Kanye West, he had about 5,000 concurrent live viewers. They are trying to silence the man. And he, in my view, is doing everything to reject that. So what did we see? The other day, we saw Ye, Jones, and Fuentes. And these are some of the most canceled people in the country. And they're pushing back and amplifying each other. That's why Alex is, in my opinion, that's why he's like, yeah, let's roll and has him come on and say these things. Don't get me wrong. We had Ye on as well. I wanted to talk news. He got up and stormed off. So be it. Let's get started with Alex Jones's bankruptcy filing, and I'll show you some of the documents. Before we get started, head over to timcast.com, become a member, and I have this still pulled up from the other day, but you can check it out. It's the green room number 35 with Ye when he was at the house. This background is actually him standing in our basement. Walls are all blue. If you want to see what he was saying, I mean, I'll tell you outright a lot of it, but if you want, it's a mini documentary about the day. He was calm and he was saying, I want to know how to become president, things like that. As a member, you'll get access to a bunch of this content. This one is not particularly as news relevant as anything he said. I don't like putting news content behind paywalls. This is just like an experience of what was going on, and it was expensive. So if you guys want to support us, becoming a member is the best way to do so. Smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, share the show with your friends. Here's the story from AP. They say, InfoWars host Alex Jones filed for personal bankruptcy protection in Texas on Friday as he faces nearly $1.5 billion in court judgments over conspiracy theories he spread about the Sandy Hook incident. Jones filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in bankruptcy court in Houston. His filing lists $1 billion to $10 billion in liabilities owed to 50 to 99 creditors and $1 million to $10 million in assets. The bankruptcy filing comes as Jones faces court orders to pay nearly $1.5 billion in damages to relatives of victims of what happened at Sandy Hook. An attorney representing Jones in the bankruptcy case did not immediately return a message seeking comment. Now, over at the Daily Wire, we actually have what appears to be the filings themselves. It says, I understand making a false statement, concealing property or otherwise, blah, 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 fines, etc. And you can see it signed here. 11/30/22. How much do you estimate your assets to be worth? And it says between $1 and $10 million. How much do you estimate your liabilities to be? And it says between $1 and $10 billion. Alex has apparently been saying that he needs to make money. He needs people to support him because if they don't start paying some of this, they're going to start seizing the camera equipment and shutting the show down. Here's the truth. Now, I'm not saying what he said there wasn't true. He needs the money. They're going to seize all stuff. What I'm saying, the truth of the circumstance is that there is nothing they can do to stop Alex Jones. Nothing. And the charging of money will only serve to slightly slow him down. But to be fair, maybe it won't even do that. In which case, I think any monetary penalty against Jones, which attempts to deter him, is a waste of the court's time. And I'll explain. From newstimes.com. CT judge asks if $2.75 trillion more to Sandy Hook families would deter Alex Jones's conduct. It won't. And I'll explain, but let's read first. The judge who will decide whether to punish Jones with a $2.75 trillion penalty in addition to defamation damages on top of $965 million wanted to understand what Jones's attorney meant by enough is enough. Norm Pattis, Jones's New Haven defense attorney, argued Monday at the final hearing in the matter before the judge decides what punitive damages to order that the unparalleled jury award of $1 billion in compensation for Sandy Hook families last month was so high that it was punishment enough. This additional $2.75 trillion that families suggest, if $1 billion doesn't do it, $3 trillion isn't going to do it. Attorney Pattis, is it your suggestion that nothing can deter Jones's conduct? Asked the judge, Barbara Bellis. The suggestion is the numbers being thrown around promote disrespect for the law rather than respect for the law. You know, $2.75 trillion dwarfs the gross national product of some countries. When the families came out and demanded $1 trillion, we were on Timcast IRL. We did the show and we were laughing like this is bigger than the GDP of France. Alex Jones will never pay this money. You will never see 1 cent. So it's just a waste of time. He says, where is the law that allows me to reach that conclusion? Where is the evidence that if a compensatory award is big enough, punitive damages aren't needed, Bellis said. I know what you are saying you want, but what allows me to do it? Quote, the lack of evidence in this case allows you to do it, Pattis responded. Pattis was referring to a 4-year case where Jones was defaulted for pretrial abuses after he broadcast on his InfoWars program that the slaying, I'm not going to read that stuff about, but you know what he said about Sandy Hook. Pettis told the judge on Monday that the jury was misled during the 4-week trial in Waterbury that ended in mid-October because of what jurors were not told about the defaulted case. The exchange between Bellis and Pettis came at the end of the late morning hearing with family's lead attorney, Chris Mattei, who argued that the judge should require Jones to pay heavy punitive damages under the state's unfair trade practices law. The family's Bridgeport law firm, Koskoff, and Biter, argued in court papers last month that the leveraging of intentional cruelty for profit exhibited in Jones's case may be unparalleled in American history, and therefore only a punitive damages assessment of historic size will serve those purposes. It's just absolutely insane, to be completely honest. Let me explain. Jones should not have to pay any of this punitive stuff. The purpose of those charges are to prevent the behavior in the future, but it will not. Alex Jones will not stop talking. You can't make him stop talking. And when you put him in this position that he can't pay, he can just now go out and say literally anything he wants. Sorry, get in line. He's been sued for $1.5 billion, and they want to tack on $1 trillion, 2.75, almost $3 trillion to be exact. It's not going to work. Alex Jones, if you take away every camera, if you take away every car, every studio, you can strip him to the nude, and someone will hand him a towel and start filming him. And you can sue that person, and someone else will come and start filming him. And you cannot stop a man from speaking. In the end, you could go after every single thing, and it could result in Alex Jones standing on the promenade in Santa Monica, saying all of this stuff as strangers film it. And then they'll say, you can't upload this, filming a guy in the street. I didn't say anything. I'm just filming a guy in the street. You just can't do anything to stop it. This is a waste of everyone's time, and it's just downright insane. But why is it happening? Well, I don't know for sure. Of course, who does? Some people believe that it is an attempt to shut down Alex Jones because he's so influential, and he was very influential in helping Trump get elected. As Elon now seeks to unban many people, there's one reason Elon says he will not unban Alex Jones: the things he said about Sandy Hook 10 years ago. But the things he said about Sandy Hook are not why he was banned from Twitter. You can see the campaign against Alex Jones has already worked in that regard. He will not be unbanned on Twitter because of what is effectively this court case. They're also trying to take all of his money away from him. James Lindsay has comments about what Ye was doing, and Majid Nawaz said something similar. Joe Biden issued a response to what Kanye West said on Alex's show. He says, I want to make a few things clear. He says the Holocaust happened. Hitler was a demonic figure. And instead of giving it a platform, our political leaders should be calling out and rejecting anti-Semitism wherever it hides. Silence is complicity. James Lindsay said, look what the most recent Democratic establishment Republican Operation Ye, has handed to the dialectic regime of platonic oligarchs. This gets tied to January 6 and Trump in a disingenuous way and becomes a dominant narrative, something AOC will start dredging up a year from now in 3, 2, 1. Establishment Republicans will announce in line, blame Trump, and ask for distance between him and the party. Deplorables, ultra-MAGAs, and the non-establishment right get tied into groypers now and forever in the narrative land, and frankly, y'all walked right into it. Trump gets pushed towards running as an independent, so the vote splits, including down ticket and D's sweep in 24. This Ye trap will spring on the Christian nationalism movement soonish, after it has pulled enough pastors and congregates into the trap so they can be mass branded as positively fascist and Nazi adjacent. They've been had and they were warned. Perhaps Sir James Lindsay. He then tweets, are you paying attention? A Pray for Ye by Andrew Torba of Gab. Perhaps, James Lindsay, I could make a different argument. I could say that Ye, who was a supporter of Trump, went on Alex Jones's show, who went on my show and said Trump did not know who Nick was. And a lot of people say, why would he say that? Now, I was speculating that he could have been attempting to drag Trump down by associating him with Fuentes and getting Fuentes front and centered. But it could be said that what Ye did has caused all of the actual fascists to expose themselves in defense of the things said by Ye. And I don't mean defense of free speech. I mean in defense of the things he literally said, like in agreement with him. Ye held up his hand and claimed that he was a Nazi. And he defended Hitler and he denied elements of the Holocaust. I'm being careful here. because I don't know every single word he said, but effectively denying the Holocaust, saying that 6 million Jews weren't killed, things like that, claiming it was factually inaccurate. It's just look, I don't want to call him mentally unwell because he believes incorrect things, but it's just really crazy, right? Trending right now on Twitter. You can see it. Hate speeches rise. This is the new op. This is the new narrative. So maybe Ye is shifting the Overton window, or maybe by coming out and saying these things, many people are exposing themselves and they will be purged from conservatives, independents, and libertarians. Maybe that purge splits the right because there are a fair amount of people who probably agree with Ye. I think the number is relatively small, mind you, but any amount of damage that the left wants to get will work. But I will also stress that many of these people aren't aligned with the right to begin with anyway, so I don't really know. I don't. I will say I have no interest in supporting anybody who agrees with Ye. I have an interest in supporting free speech and anybody who agrees with the free speech of Ye, because that free speech exposed what they believe. But anyway, I digress. This is what we now have. Ye has become this figure. I don't know, man. When Jimmy Kimmel comes out and has like a basic joke kind of praising Alex Jones or humanizing him, you have to wonder. The Daily Bee says Jimmy Kimmel unloads on Kanye West for praising Hitler. He says at the end of the day, at the end of the day in which Kanye West sat down for 3 hours of complete insanity with the despicable Alex Jones, Jimmy Kimmel couldn't help but dig into the conversation between two guys who lost $1 billion each. During his appearance on InfoWars, the artist currently known as Ye devolved into ramblings as we get. And he said, Ye said, especially Hitler was the quote that went viral. Especially Hitler, Kimmel replied in disbelief. I think he's wearing the wrong color hood. The late night host went on to debunk West's claims about Hitler's inventions and pointing to an old myth that they invented the microwave oven. I think he meant microphone. Is that it? But I haven't seen anything like this yet. And we have a black white supremacist running around. Oh, come on. Y'all have been screaming that for years. He says, let's imagine this was Ariana Grande saying this stuff. We'd load her into a cannon and fire into the ocean, right? But Kanye seems to get crazier every day and he still has fans. And you know an interview has gone off the rails when you're watching it thinking, gee, I hope Alex Jones can talk some sense into this guy. That was pretty good, you got to admit. I'm surprised. Maybe Ye is basically creating a villain that both the left and the right can rally against. I don't know. Kimmel ended the bit saying that Herschel Walker should send Kanye a thank you note right now for diverting our attention away from him. Sure, blah, blah, blah. I think everything we're seeing is, at the very least, to be weaponized by the Democrats. The Conservative Brief reports Elon Musk tears into Dems for coordinated attacks over Twitter. Strange. Is Ye in on it? I don't know. It would be crazy, in my opinion, that he was. I tend to think the simple solution tends to be the correct one. But Elon brings Ye back on the platform. What does Ye do? Ye goes off. He goes off, and then Elon's got to get rid of him. Elon Musk tweeted, several other major Democrat politicians attacked me too, all around the same time. It was coordinated. Outside of party leadership and independents like Manchin, they are essentially actors on the political stage, not directors or script writers. It's interesting. A coordinated attack. It seems so conspiratorial, right? Like, there's no way. I mean, look, people might not like Elon, but could there really be a coordinated attack? Well, how about this? Elon Musk tweeted earlier today, hate speech impressions continue to decline despite significant user growth. Twitter safety will publish data weekly. Freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom of reach. Negativity should and will get less reach than positivity. The Verge. Hate speech is soaring on Twitter under Elon Musk report finds. Huh. That's weird. What's this? The New York Times? Hate speech's rise on Twitter is unprecedented, research finds. Well, that's weird. Elon Musk wouldn't be lying to the public, would he? Isn't that fraud? I think Elon's telling the truth. I think the media is lying because they get away with it. So, a coordinated campaign against Elon? Maybe. Here's the story from The Verge. Elon Musk, this is from today, mind you. Elon Musk claimed last week that hate speech impressions on Twitter were down by 1/3 since he took over the company. But the total amount of hate speech on the platform has risen during the same time period, according to research by the Center for Countering Digital Hate. Surprise, surprise. An average of 1,282 tweets with slurs against black people appeared daily on Twitter before Musk took over. That number has now jumped to 3,876 after he bought the company. During the week of Musk's tweet, it increased even further to 4,650. I think the number is something like 500,000 tweets every hour. So you're telling me that we divide that number by 24 and it's like 60 hate tweets per hour? Is that it? You see how they're lying. They're saying it's on the rise. Technically, that's the truth, but it's marginal and insignificant to the total number of tweets the platform has. They're going to mention slurs against trans people. They say, in a tweet in mid-November, Musk said hateful tweets would be maxed, deboosted, and demonetized so that users wouldn't see the content unless they went looking for it. But even if views are down, the CCDH report found engagement on hate speech is up. Oh, so it's just engagement. So views on hate speech are down. Musk took over the average number of likes, replies, blah, 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 blah. Okay, you get it. Here we go from the New York Times. Hate speech's rise on Twitter is unprecedented. Uh-huh. The dirty games they play. Before Elon Musk bought Twitter, slurs against black Americans showed up on the social media service an average of, okay, so is this basically the exact same article? They just republished it on The Verge? Because I got to say, if that's the case, wow. It's basically the same thing. But it's not plagiarism, is it? They're going to mention the findings from this organization, the shift in speech, and all of that. Elon Musk responded to the story saying, utterly false. Yeah, that's why they don't like it. They don't like that he bought Twitter because you can do this. They were mad at Trump using Twitter because he did the same thing. He took control of the platform and was able to use it to his own advantage. But let's be critical of Elon here. Elon tweeted, "You know Twitter is being fair when extremists on far right and far left are simultaneously upset. Twitter aims to center 80% of people who wish to learn, laugh, and engage in reasoned debate." Yeah, my friend. The center is here. I love it. I think we might have the tweet from the Eve6 guy, which is really, really funny if it's here somewhere. I want you to see it. Let me see if I can find it. No, I guess not. But basically what he said was, Elon Musk is a billionaire centrist, the worst kind of right-winger. And it's like, centrists are centrists, not right-winger. You see what they do there? That's the world they live in. If you're in the center, you're right-wing. I think I'm fairly in the center. And Elon Musk says he's trying to cater to us. Well, we have principles here. I lean slightly left, slightly right on varying issues, but basically in the center. Yeah, I want free speech. If someone posts a hurtful image, okay, well, so what? There's naughty words all over the place. You can't stop people from hearing and saying things. It is what it is. But Elon Musk called this incitement to violence when he suspended Kanye West. That I disagree with. It may be due to the laws in Europe. In which case, we're going to see a better system, but it's not going to be what y'all think it is. It's not going to be this free speech absolute thing. Elon is clearly just going to ban people if they're too offensive. He's just got a lower threshold, a lower standard for what is or isn't. And so I think it's a good thing. I'm not going to sit here and drag Elon when he's doing good. Where's the amnesty at? It's Friday. It's Friday, right? Well, I still appreciate what's happening, and there's a lot more that's going on. So I want to give a shout out to the guys over at Rumble, because they're fighting the good fight too. From Reclaim the Net, sorry. Rumble files lawsuit to challenge New York social media censorship law. New York's law would open the door for the suppression of protected speech based on the complaints of activists and bullies. If you're tired of censorship, cancel culture, and the erosion of privacy and civil liberties, I say subscribe to Reclaim the Net. Free speech video sharing platform Rumble and its subscription platform Locals have sued New York Attorney General Letitia James to challenge a social media censorship law that they say would force platforms to target constitutionally protected speech. Rumble and Locals are being represented by the free speech nonprofit Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression and are joined in the lawsuit by constitutional law professor Eugene Volokh, the co-founder of the Volokh Conspiracy legal blog. Is that how you pronounce it? The law is titled Social Media Networks, Hateful Conduct Prohibited, but it actually targets speech the state doesn't like, even if that speech is fully protected by the First Amendment, Fire said in a statement. The law forces a wide variety of internet platforms to publish a policy detailing how they'll respond to posts that are deemed to vilify, humiliate, or incite violence based on protected classes such as religion, gender, or race. It also requires platforms to create a way for visitors to complain about hateful content and requires them to respond to complaints directly. Platforms that refuse to comply can be investigated by the AG's office, subpoenaed, and fined up to $1,000 per violation. It comes into force Saturday, December 3rd. As is often the case with censorship laws, the social media network's hateful conduct prohibited law doesn't define vilify, humiliate, or incite. Rumble suggested this means it would cover constitutionally protected speech like jokes, satire, political debates, and other online commentary. Fire noted that the law's scope is entirely subjective and suggested that it could target a wide range of First Amendment protected speech, such as a comedian's blog entry vilifying men by mocking gender stereotypes, and most comments on almost any website that could be considered by someone somewhere at some point in time as humiliating or vilifying a group based on a protected status like religion, gender, or race. Fire added, bloggers, commenters, websites, and apps around the country are ensnared by the New York law due to its broad definition of social media networks as for-profit service providers that enable users to share any content. This vague wording means the law can impact virtually any revenue-generating website that allows comments or posts and is accessible to New Yorkers, but no government entity can legally compel blogs or other internet platforms to adopt its broad definition of hateful conduct. New York politicians are slapping a speech police badge on my chest because I run a blog, Volek said. I started the blog to share interesting and important legal stories, not to police readers. This would apply to basically any website, mind you. This law in New York is going to apply to New York Times. Washington Post, I believe, has a New York office. This is why many websites eliminated comment sections. We brought ours back, baby. And there could be a risk there. I don't think we really have any risks with Section 230 reform or anything like that because I don't think it's going anywhere. But this New York law, people subscribe based in New York, so what, they'd come after us? I'm not going to think twice about this because I don't live there. But if you live in New York, you better be paying attention because they could cut you off from timcast.com or who knows, even YouTube. The law is one of several attempts by New York to encroach on the First Amendment and push for the censorship of constitutionally protected speech. Other laws and proposals from the state have pushed to ban the sharing of violent crime videos, ban gendered language in law, that's ridiculous, and allow officials to sue platforms that are suspected of contributing to the knowing or reckless spread of misinformation. Please define for me. Please define for me misinformation. Tell me who has the moral and legal authority to know what is the truth. They will say it's the government. These are trying times, my friends. These are dangerous times. New York is openly attacking the First Amendment with this law, and it must be stopped. What's happening to Alex Jones is absurd. $2.75 trillion. Magical numbers that don't exist. I think Vladimir Putin is said to be secretly the wealthiest man on the planet, but even he doesn't have trillions. I think they estimated his value at like 700 billion or something like that. Maybe. Maybe not. Or maybe everything we're seeing is part of a bigger plan. I'm not so sure I'm convinced. There are agendas, for sure. Everybody has their agenda. That's true. But this may be an element of what happens when the machine breaks down. CNN is laying off people. It's shrinking. They sold and then it's just, basically falling apart. CNN Plus collapsed after a month. The narrative machine is crumbling. And with it, more and more regular people are starting to speak up. Everybody and their grandmother has a podcast. Everybody is talking about what they think. And maybe what we're seeing with all of this is two things. The natural state of humans is to say insane things. But that's not so bad, isn't it? The idea that people can express wildly divergent ideas is meritocratic. The best ideas will rise. It could also be a plot to fracture anybody who exists outside of that narrative. Maybe that's why they wanted to come on my show, Yay and Them. Didn't work. Came out looking fine. Some people on the left are like Hassan Piker, he's like, I condemn Tim or whatever he's saying. It's like, I don't know. I don't care. It's irrelevant. There's dirty people out there. There's evil people. And so you have to just think about, I'm not sure if I actually have it pulled up. There is a quote that Elon responded to. It's a Samwise Gamgee quote. And it's, why do we keep pressing on? It's because We believe that there is still some hope out there, that there's still some goodness. I think you have to make it. I've been given every reason over the past several years to not do this. I've long told the story about how, I'm sitting in my studio / bedroom in this, in my own house. And I worked until like 3-something p.m. I was making 6 figures. And I was like, what more do I need? I'm making good money. I'm not stressed. I'm not working too hard. But I decided to work harder. I decided to keep going. And maybe I could have stopped and just kept my head down. But there's a reason why we do this, and it's because in order for there to be good, people have to work to make good. And so that's what I want to do. I want to keep working towards making things better. There are people that I think that they're agents of chaos, evil people who are seeking to make things worse. It's yin yang, man. There is a good and there is a bad. There is a light and there is a dark. Within good, there is evil. Within the evil, there is good. That's what it essentially means. I'm not going to pretend to be a spiritual or cultural expert in that regard, but it's a general idea. At least that's what I was told. But there are some really bad people out there who want to just watch the world burn. They masquerade as heroes. They accuse the heroes of being the villains. That's how it works. That's yin yang. You come to a fork in the road with 2 brothers standing at each fork, on each road. One always tells the truth and one always lies. One road leads to sanctuary and one leads to torment. How do you know which road to go down? It's simple. You ask one brother what the other one would tell them, and then you take the opposite road. It's that simple. The liar, he's going to lie to you. He's going to say, oh, that guy, he'll tell you to take the road to the right. The road to the right, of course, being the good road. That brother, of course, being the honest one. He's lying, though. Or I'm sorry, he would tell you to take the road on the right, which is the bad road. Because he's lying, because the guy telling the truth would tell you to take the good road, the other one. You ask the brother who tells the truth, which road should I take? Which road would he tell me to take? And he's going to honestly tell you, oh, he's the liar. He'll tell you to take the road to the right that leads to torment. So you just take the opposite road. It's an excellent logic problem. But understanding ideas like that is how you navigate the cruel, cruel world. Maybe it's one way to navigate the truth. It's imperfect, but it's a general idea. I wish the best for everybody, to be completely honest. We'll see what happens. They're going after AJ. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 8 p.m. over at youtube.com/TimcastIRL. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.